You know that feeling when your gut tells you something's wrong, but you ignore it because you trust family? Yeah, that was my first mistake. My name is Sarah, and I'm about to tell you how my own sister turned my second home into her personal paradise, while I worked myself to the bone paying for it. 3 years ago, I bought a beautiful two-story house in the suburbs as an investment property. It wasn't anything extravagant, but it was mine. I had worked double shifts as a nurse for 5 years, saved every penny, and finally achieved my dream of owning rental property. The plan was simple: rent it out, build passive income, and secure my financial future. My sister Maya knew all about it. She even helped me pick out the paint colors and celebrated with me when I got the keys. But life got busy. Really busy. I was juggling my nursing career, night shifts, and dealing with my own apartment issues. The house sat empty for a few months while I handled some repairs and got everything rental ready. Maya would occasionally text me asking about the house, saying things like, "How's the rental coming along?" or "Found any tenants yet?" I thought she was just being supportive. I was so naive. Fast forward to last month. I finally decided it was time to list the property. I had taken 2 weeks off work specifically to deep clean, stage the house, and get professional photos taken. I didn't tell anyone I was coming. Why would I? It was my house. I drove 3 hours from the city, excited about finally seeing my investment pay off. I had already calculated the rental income in my head, dreaming about how it would help me pay off my student loans faster. As I turned onto Maple Street, my heart was racing with anticipation. But that excitement turned to confusion when I saw toys scattered across MY front lawn. A pink bicycle with training wheels. A soccer ball. Children's chalk drawings on MY driveway. I thought maybe the neighbors' kids had wandered over. I parked my car and walked toward the front door, my keys jingling in my hand. That's when I heard it. Children's laughter. Coming from inside MY house. My stomach dropped. I put my key in the lock, but it didn't turn. The locks had been changed. On MY property. Without MY permission. My hands started shaking. I rang the doorbell, my mind racing with possibilities. None of them good. The door opened, and there she stood. Maya, my sister, wearing comfortable home clothes, holding a dish towel, looking like she belonged there. For a split second, her face showed pure shock, then panic, before she quickly plastered on a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Sarah." "Oh my God, what are you doing here?" She laughed nervously, blocking the doorway with her body. "What am I doing here?" "Maya, this is MY house. What are you doing here?" Before she could answer, 2 small children ran up behind her, tugging at her shirt. Mommy, can we have snacks?" Then a teenage boy appeared, headphones around his neck, asking about the Wi-Fi password. All 3 kids. In MY house. Looking completely at home. "Can we talk outside?" Maya whispered, stepping onto the porch and pulling the door closed behind her. "No, Maya. We're talking right now. How long have you been living in my house?" She looked down at her feet, then back at me with those manipulative puppy dog eyes she'd perfected since childhood. "Look, I was going to tell you. We needed a place to stay temporarily. Just for a few weeks after my divorce, and you weren't using it, so I thought." "You thought? You thought you could just move into my property without asking? How long, Maya? How long?" The silence that followed felt like hours. Finally, she whispered, 2 years. 2 years. My sister had been living in my house, rent-free, for 2 entire years while I paid the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and utilities. While I worked overtime shifts, ate ramen noodles to save money, and delayed my own dreams. She had been living comfortably in MY investment property like it was hers. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. 2 years. My legs felt weak, and I had to lean against the porch railing to steady myself. Maya was talking, her words coming out in a rushed, defensive stream, but I could barely process them through the rage building inside me. "Sarah, please listen. After Derek left, I had nowhere to go. The kids needed stability. I was going to pay you back. I kept meaning to tell you, but the timing was never right, and you were always so busy with work, and I didn't want to burden you." "Burden me?" I cut her off, my voice rising. You living in my house for 2 years without paying a single dollar, without even telling me, and I'm the one who would have been burdened? Do you have any idea how insane that sounds? A neighbor walking their dog slowed down, clearly interested in the drama unfolding. Maya noticed and grabbed my arm. Can we please go inside and talk about this calmly? Inside? Inside my house that you've been squatting in? Sure, let's do that. I pushed past her into the living room, and what I saw made my blood boil even more. My house didn't look like my house anymore. The walls I had carefully painted in neutral beige were now covered in family photos, kids' artwork, and motivational quotes in fancy frames. The furniture I had left was gone, replaced with Maya's stuff. A large flat-screen TV dominated one wall. Video game consoles. A expensive-looking coffee maker in the kitchen. New appliances. My investment property had become her fully decorated family home. You redecorated, I said flatly, walking through the rooms in disbelief. I wanted to make it feel like home for the kids, Maya said quietly, following behind me. They'd been through so much with the divorce. I spun around to face her. And what about what I've been through? Do you know I've been working 60-hour weeks? That I've been putting off dental work because I couldn't afford it while paying for this house? A house I thought was sitting empty, waiting to generate income. Maya's expression shifted from apologetic to defensive. You have a good job, Sarah. You're doing fine. I was desperate. My kids needed a roof over their heads. What was I supposed to do, live on the streets? You were supposed to ask me. You were supposed to respect that this is my property. There's a huge difference between helping family and letting them commit fraud. Fraud? Really, Sarah? It's not fraud. We're sisters. I thought you'd understand. I laughed bitterly. Understand? Let me ask you something, Maya. In these 2 years, how many times did you text me asking how I was doing? How many times did you offer to help when I mentioned being tired or stressed? And how many times did you hide the fact that you were living rent-free in my house? She crossed her arms defensively. I sent you birthday wishes. I called on holidays. You called from my house, Maya. Using my electricity, my internet, probably my water to make your tea while we talked. I walked upstairs, needing to see the full extent of this betrayal. The bedrooms were fully furnished. The master bedroom that I had envisioned as a beautiful space for future tenants was clearly Maya's room. Clothes everywhere, makeup on the dresser, personal items scattered around. The 2 smaller bedrooms were set up as kids' rooms, complete with toys, posters, and that lived-in chaos that comes with children. I opened the closet in the master bedroom and found it packed with Maya's clothes. Expensive clothes. Designer brands. The same sister who claimed she was desperate and had nowhere to go was wearing clothes I couldn't afford. Maya, are those new Prada shoes? I pointed to a box on the closet shelf. She shifted uncomfortably. I bought those on sale. On sale. Right. So you have money for Prada shoes, but not for paying rent on the house you've been secretly living in. That's when I noticed the stack of mail on her nightstand. Bills. All addressed to this house. Electric bills, water bills, internet bills. All in amounts that made me dizzy. She hadn't just been living here. She'd been living large. I grabbed the electric bill from the nightstand. $347 for last month alone. My hands trembled as I flipped through the other bills. Internet with the premium streaming package. Water bills that suggested long showers and possibly filling a kiddie pool. She'd been living like she owned the place because in her mind, she probably did. $347, Maya? What the hell have you been doing, running an industrial refrigerator? The kids need to keep cool in summer, she said defensively. And the older one likes to game online with his friends. It's not like I was being wasteful on purpose. Not being wasteful? I could feel my voice getting shrill, but I didn't care anymore. You've been hemorrhaging money that I've been paying for. Do you know what my monthly costs are for this place? Mortgage, insurance, property tax, and now apparently your massive utility bills? I've been throwing away over $2,000 a month on a house I thought was empty. Maya's face suddenly changed. The fake apologetic look disappeared, replaced with something uglier. Entitlement. You know what, Sarah? Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with money and actually cared about family, you would have noticed. You're always working, always busy, always too important to check in on us. I needed help and you weren't there. I wasn't there? I wasn't there. I was literally shaking now. You never asked for help, Maya. You just took it. There's a massive difference. And don't you dare turn this around on me like I'm the villain. I'm not turning anything around. I'm just saying that family is supposed to help family. When Mom and Dad died, we promised we'd always have each other's backs. Remember? The mention of our parents hit me like a slap. She was using their memory to justify her theft. Mom and Dad would be ashamed of what you've done. They taught us about integrity, about asking for help when we need it, not stealing and lying. I didn't steal anything. I just borrowed the house temporarily. For 2 years, Maya. Without telling me. While I struggled. That's not borrowing, that's stealing. The teenage boy appeared at the top of the stairs. Mom, what's going on? Who is this lady? This lady, I said before Maya could answer, is the actual owner of this house. I'm your Aunt Sarah, and your mother has been living in my property without permission. His eyes widened. Mom, you said Grandma left you this house. My jaw dropped. I stared at Maya in absolute disbelief. You told your kids that our mother left you this house? Our mother who passed away 5 years before I even bought this property. Maya's face flushed red. Tyler, go downstairs with your sisters. Now. But Mom. Now. The boy scrambled away, and I could hear him whispering urgently to his siblings downstairs. Maya turned back to me, and now she looked cornered and dangerous. You had no right to tell him that, she hissed. I had no right? You lied to your own children about how you got this house. What else have you been lying about, Maya? I had to tell them something. They kept asking why we suddenly had a nice house. I couldn't tell them their mother was a failure who couldn't afford to take care of them after the divorce. So instead you told them you inherited it? And let them believe their grandmother provided for them from beyond the grave? That's sick, Maya. That's genuinely sick. She started crying then, those manipulative tears she'd always used to get her way since we were kids. You don't understand what it's like, Sarah. You don't have kids. You don't know the pressure of being a single mom, trying to give them a good life. You're right, I don't have kids. You know why? Because I've been responsible. I've been working toward my goals, saving money, preparing for the future. And part of that future was this house generating rental income so that maybe, eventually, I could afford to start a family. But you took that from me. I didn't take anything. The house was just sitting here empty. Because I was preparing it for tenants, Maya. It wasn't a gift. It wasn't community property. It was MY investment, and you stole 2 years of potential income from me. I walked back downstairs, needing to see the full scope of what she'd done. The kitchen had been completely renovated. New granite countertops. New cabinets. A fancy farmhouse sink. My heart sank even further. Maya, I said slowly, pointing at the kitchen. Please tell me you didn't renovate MY kitchen with my money. She bit her lip. The kitchen was outdated. I thought I was adding value to your property. You should be thanking me. Thanking you? Thanking you? Did I authorize these renovations? Did I approve the budget? Did I even know about them? You never answered when I tried to tell you about them. When? When did you try to tell me about illegally renovating a house you were illegally living in? She couldn't answer that. Because it was a lie. All of it was lies built on lies. I pulled out my phone and started taking pictures. Every room, every renovation, every piece of evidence. Maya watched me nervously. What are you doing? Documenting everything. For my lawyer. Her face went pale. Your lawyer? Sarah, come on. We can work this out between us. We're family. Family doesn't steal from family, Maya. Family doesn't lie for 2 years. Family doesn't forge utility bills and change locks and pretend to inherit houses that don't belong to them. I didn't forge anything. The bills are in my name because I had to set up the accounts. On a property you don't own. Without the owner's permission. Do you understand that's illegal? The younger kids appeared at the doorway, looking scared. The little girl was clutching a stuffed animal. Mommy, are we in trouble? My anger softened slightly looking at those innocent faces. This wasn't their fault. They were victims of their mother's choices too. No, sweetie, I said gently. You're not in trouble. But you're mommy and I need to have a grown-up conversation. Maya quickly ushered them back into the other room and turned on the TV for them. When she came back, her whole demeanor had changed again. Now she was pleading. Sarah, please. I'll pay you back. I'll get a job, I'll work extra hours. Just don't kick us out. The kids are settled here. They're doing well. In school. Tyler finally has friends. The girls are thriving. Please don't uproot them because of my mistakes. Your mistakes? Maya, this isn't a mistake. Spilling coffee is a mistake. Forgetting someone's birthday is a mistake. Squatting in your sister's house for 2 years while lying to everyone is a choice. Multiple choices. Every single day for 730 days, you woke up in my house and chose not to tell me. I know. I'm sorry. I really am. But where would we go? I don't have first and last month's rent saved up. I don't have security deposits. The divorce wiped me out financially. And yet you have Prada shoes and renovated my kitchen. She didn't have an answer for that. I sat down on the couch that used to be mine, feeling exhausted. Here's what's going to happen, Maya. You have 30 days to move out. Legally, I could evict you immediately since you have no lease and no permission to be here, but I'm giving you a month because of the kids. 30 days? Sarah, that's impossible. Then you should have thought about that before you moved in without asking. And you're going to pay me back. Every single penny. We're going to calculate the fair market rent for this house for the past 2 years, plus utilities, plus damages, plus the cost of your unauthorized renovations. I don't have that kind of money. Then we'll set up a payment plan. Or you can explain to a judge why you think you shouldn't have to pay. Your choice. Maya's face cycled through emotions: fear, anger, desperation, and finally, something unexpected. Defiance. Maybe I'll just refuse to leave. What are you going to do then? Drag your own nieces and nephews out onto the street? I looked at my sister, this person I thought I knew, and realized I was looking at a stranger. I stood up slowly, making direct eye contact with Maya. You know what? You're right. I won't drag my nieces and nephews onto the street. But I will call the police and report a squatter in my property. I will file a civil lawsuit. I will contact an eviction attorney. And I will make absolutely sure that everyone in our family knows exactly what you've done. You wouldn't dare. Watch me. I pulled up Aunt Linda's number on my phone. Should I start with her? Or maybe Cousin James, who works in real estate. I'm sure he'd love to hear how you've been running your little fraud operation. Fine. Maya screamed, her composure finally cracking completely. Fine. You want us out? We'll get out. But don't expect me to make this easy for you. Those kids are going to know exactly who threw them out of their home. They're going to know they're successful, rich, and couldn't spare one little house to help family. I'm not rich, Maya. I'm in debt. Debt that got worse because of you. And you're going to tell those kids the truth. You're going to tell them you moved into a house that wasn't yours without permission. You're going to teach them that actions have consequences. I'll tell them whatever I want. No, you won't. Because I recorded this entire conversation on my phone. And if you try to turn the kids or the family against me with lies, I'll play them every single word. Her eyes widened in panic. You recorded me without my consent? That's illegal. Actually, in this state, only one party needs to consent to recording. And I consented. Maybe you should learn about laws before you break them. The fight seemed to drain out of her then. She collapsed into a chair, head in her hands. For the first time, she actually looked remorseful rather than just caught. I really am sorry, Sarah, she whispered. I made terrible choices. I just didn't know how else to survive. You survive by asking for help. You survive by being honest. You survive by respecting other people's boundaries and property. Not by lying and stealing. What do I do now? I sighed, feeling the weight of everything. You get a job if you don't have one. You look for affordable housing. You apply for assistance programs if you need them. You sell those Prada shoes. You do what millions of single mothers do every day, Maya. You figure it out. Just not in my house anymore. 3 weeks later, Maya moved out. She found a smaller rental across town and got a job at a call center. The kids were upset about the move, but I made sure to visit them and explain gently that sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, and we all have to face the consequences of our choices. I spent another month cleaning, repairing, and properly preparing the house for actual tenants. The renovations Maya had done without permission actually did add value, which I counted toward the massive debt she owed me. We set up a 5-year payment plan where she'd pay me back $200 a month. It wasn't nearly enough, and I'd probably never see all the money she owed me, but it was something. The house is now rented to a lovely family who actually pays rent. Every month when that rent check hits my account, I feel a mixture of relief and sadness. Relief that my investment is finally paying off. Sadness that it took losing my relationship with my sister to get here. Maya and I are slowly rebuilding our relationship, but it's different now. There's a guardedness that wasn't there before. Trust, once broken so completely, doesn't just heal overnight. But we're trying, for the sake of the family and those 3 kids who didn't ask to be caught in the middle of their mother's bad choices. The weirdest part? Sometimes I catch myself wondering if I was too harsh. Then I remember those 2 years of overtime shifts of living paycheck to paycheck while she lived comfortably in my house. And I remember that standing up for yourself isn't being harsh. It's being human. To anyone out there dealing with family who take advantage, you're not the villain for setting boundaries. You're not cruel for protecting what's yours. And you're definitely not wrong for expecting honesty from the people who claim to love you. Family is important. But so are you.